Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Thursday. There's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, the market was just crazy today. So we'll take a look at what's going on there. Bitcoin, we'll take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum. Had a wild ride today also. Went almost to 25,000, came back down. So we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the miners. Miners were pumping hard in the morning. Some were up 20% pre-hours, and then others were up 14, 8, 15%. It was just crazy, and then they all came down with Bitcoin coming down towards the end of the day. So we'll take a look at that. We also have a Dmg July update. There's another update to their update that I provided to you guys yesterday, I think. But this one just provides what they actually have as far as Bitcoin HODL. Luxxfolio news. It looks like they may have no more miners left, maybe a couple hundred. We'll take a look at the numbers there. Take a look at the news story as well. HOT8, obviously second quarter results. We'll take a look at those. And Core Scientific second quarter results as well. Huge growth for them, but a lot of debt. So we'll take a look at that. As always, you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice. I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. As always, for entertainment only, do your own research. All right, let's take a look at the numbers here that we have. So the markets were down today. S&P finished down 0.07%. Dow Jones was actually up 0.15%. NASDAQ was down 0.58% on the day. So it was a mixed day on the markets today. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here really quick. And Bitcoin, as you can see here today, it's actually in the new day right now, but it's in the red. It started out the day pretty good as far as it goes. Let's go to the 1 hour chart. We can probably see that a little bit better here. So here is the start. Where is the 11th? The 11th is right there. So we started going down a little bit, and then we started coming back up, and we did reach a high of 24,929 on the day. After we got to that point, we started coming back down, and now we have been falling back down pretty much every hour here except for 1 or 2 hours here, or 3 hours here. But for the most part, we've been coming down in price. RSI has been coming down as well. So it looks like we might be going down a little bit more. Right now we're testing that resistance, which we're hoping to get it as support. But right now it's still resistance. We are at 23,818 right now. And by the RSI, we could possibly fall a little bit more. We'll have to see how far lower we go. We could go down to maybe about the 23,587 mark or so, but we'll have to see, obviously, on that one. So on the RSI, it looks good still. Looking at it where we are now and where we were prior to that on the peaks, you can see that we are still positive in price. So I think short term, we're still bullish looking on this. And there's no change in that right now, unless we see something that has obviously swapped and we're looking a little bit more bearish. But right now, we are looking bullish on it. So that's the daily. We are obviously above the 200 weekly moving average, which is good. We obviously want to see that continue. Looking at Ethereum is at 1,864. So surprisingly, it did not follow Bitcoin as much as or as closely. It was up 1.45% on the day. Today, obviously, we're in the new day now. We're down a little bit right now, but obviously it went up to a high of 1,946, almost 2,000 there, and fell down just like Bitcoin did for the most part. On the daily, we are looking pretty good still. I mean, looking at the RSI here, we've had a couple levels where we were at this price, and each time we were lower in price, which is a good sign. Even though RSI is flat, price has continued to go up, so that's a good sign as well on the daily chart for Ethereum. Let's take a look at the miners here, see how they did. And we'll go back to the 1 hour chart. We'll turn off the 200 weekly moving average here, and we'll take a look at it that way. So Ethereum, let's take a look at Sphere 3D. Sphere 3D was up 3.62% today to 78 cents. And you can see where we started out the day. A lot of the miners were out of the gate in positive territory and obviously up quite a bit in pre-hours. Argo was up today 3.21% to 56 cents. And here again, you can see that it obviously had a huge rally in the morning and then everything was coming back down. Bit Digital was up 3.55% to $1.75. And you can see as well, morning started out great and then everything fell to crap towards the end of the day. Bitfarms was up 1.16% to $1.74. Same thing with this one. You can see how it started out pre-hours way up and then continuing to fall down during the day. CleanSpark down 4.68% to $5.70. I did buy a little bit more CleanSpark today. Got in a little bit higher price. Thought things were going to go up possibly a little bit more, but things did go up before they started falling back down. So that's okay. We've been dollar cost averaging into CleanSpark for a while, so I'm fine with that. Got a little bit more shares, which is good. But you can see here, obviously, it was up like 20% in the pre-hours, and then it just fell down afterwards. Cores was down 0.31% to $3.24. Same thing, up in the pre-hours, then falling down throughout the day. We got DigiHost was up 3.65% to $1.42. DMG was up 0.83% to 31 cents. Greenidge was down 1.75% to $3.94. Hive was up 4.13% to $6.31. So it was actually up higher during the morning hours. And then it actually maintained most of that increase. So it didn't do that bad today. HUT8 was up 9.23% to $2.96. Same thing with them. Huge increase in the morning. And then obviously it kind of leveled off a little bit, but it still had a nice run today. Iris Energy was up 7.06% to $6.22. Luxxfolio was up 3.84% to 11 cents. Marathon was up 5.07 to $17.19. And Mawson was up 8.3% to 94 cents. Riot was up 4.5% to $9.52. And Stronghold was up 4.68% to $2.91. So there's the miners. Wild ride on the markets today with the miners. Well, Bitcoin too. Bitcoin going up and then coming way down. That did not help things. All right, let's take a look at the news stories that we have here, and then we'll call it a day. So first story that I want to get into with you guys is Luxxfolio. So I have a question for you guys. After we read this, I'll have a question for you guys posed, and then we'll maybe do a poll on Twitter or on YouTube here, and you guys can help me decide what to do next. So here's the story. So Luxxfolio announces that it has agreed to a debt settlement arrangement with its major lender. Didn't say who the lender was. The company will reduce its debt by approximately $5.8 million in debt in exchange for reduction to its current mining fleet by approximately 1,900 miners. So they're basically giving the miners back as collateral, I guess, to the lender. So the debt represents the company's entire obligation to the lender and substantially all the company's long-term debt. The miners represent substantially all of the remaining mining machines that were directly acquired by the company via asset-backed financing facilities with the lender. So, yeah, pretty much all remaining mining machines. So it looks like they're not going to have any mining machines left except for their hosting part of the business. So to facilitate and simplify the debt settlement, the company agreed at the lender's request to have an event of default occur under the existing financing agreements to permit the lender to execute its rights under such agreement to take ownership of the miners in full satisfaction of the debt. So obviously the lender's getting the miners. They're out of miners. They don't have any more miners, it looks like. And I wonder where the lender's taking their miners, whether they're going to have Luxxfolio possibly host them. That'd be kind of cool, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So this is a strategic move to manage risk in volatile Bitcoin mining industry and the general market conditions. Luxxfolio gains financial flexibility and capacity in our New Mexico site to aggressively pursue our immersion mining strategy. So they're falling back on the immersion mining. So Luxxfolio believes immersion is the future of mining and provides a risk-reduced business strategy for mining. With immersion mining, Luxxfolio collects consistent monthly hosting revenue, plus the Bitcoin mined through the overclocking of hash rate as high as 50%. I think that's possibly too high. I think that's reaching for the stars there. I think if they can get to maybe 30-35% overclocking, sustained overclocking, I think that would be really good. We know that 50% is possible, but it's obviously going to put a more toll on the miners, I think, on the chips and everything else, and it's going to take more to cool the machines also. So I think 50% is pretty high up there. Realistically, I think maybe 35% or so. So that is it for Luxxfolio. Let me show you what I have for them here. Let's see here. Where's Luxxfolio? So they've obviously sold some miners already here to pay down debt, which is unfortunate. They had to pay. They sold those off in July. They sold some more in July here, 370. They also sold, how many more? 100 here and 500 here. So what is that? 970 or so that they sold here. So based on that, I only have 2,130 miners left, and if they sold 1,900 of those miners, I think they're pretty much done for as far as their self-mining is concerned. The only thing that they're going to have now is just the hosting and whatever they can get gains on top of the immersion cooling, on top of whatever's overclocked. So if you have a 100 terahash miner, you overclock it by 35%, you can get it to maybe 135 terahash, so you're getting 35 terahashes on top of that. So, I mean, it's not a bad business model, but they're just going to be making so much less on that. It's basically right now we got 60, not even here, we got 31 petahash right here, and that's 310 miners. I'll have to figure out what they would actually be making. But here's my question to you guys on this one. Seeing how Luxxfolio is going to be pretty much all out of their miners, I'm thinking about dropping them from going forward as far as covering them. It just doesn't make any sense. They don't have any of their miners. They're going to be basically just hosting all together. And the other part of it was here, if I can see it. Let me go back down here and show you guys here. Luxxfolio has not been providing their monthly updates here since, looks like May is the last one that we got. We didn't get a June. We didn't get a July. I'm thinking about dropping them. So I'll post a question to you guys on Twitter and possibly on YouTube as a question. Should I drop them from our list here? I vote yes. But you guys let me know. You guys are the ones that either want me to or not. So let me know. All right. So that's unfortunate for them. And let's get back into the other story here. So DMG is going to be a quick one as well. Dmg Bitcoin Balance as of July 31st, 2022 was 324 BTC. This was part of a story that is on them change of auditor and provide July preliminary mining results. So we covered them yesterday via their Twitter page. They did provide basic mining production update for July, but they did not provide what they actually had as far as HODL position for quite a while. Last time they provided that was back for their Q1 results, which were back in March 31st, I believe. That was what we had then. So let's take a look at the numbers here really quick. And that was DMG. So DMG last time provided it, so now I updated. So last time they had, if we look at it here, they had 372 Bitcoins in HODL position back in March 31st. They do not provide those numbers every month. So I was surprised to see that today. So I just have them basically at 372 for all the months except for this month, where they're down to 324. Had they sold in July, portion of it, plus what they mined, looks like they would have sold about 102 BTC, valued about 2.3 million for that. So that obviously has possibly helped them out a little bit financially. But like I said, we just don't know exactly what they had each month. So we're kind of guesstimating that somewhere between March and now, at the end of March, so April through now, they sold 102 Bitcoin somewhere in there. I just don't know where. But we do have it in here as listed on that. Nothing else has changed from that. So just a quick little update on DMG just to provide you guys that information as well. Okay, so that's DMG. Let's get into HUT8. So HUT8 also provided their financial numbers today. We'll get into that pretty quickly. We'll look at it. It's actually pretty good. It's not that bad. So current assets right now is at 254 million, almost 255 million. And majority of that is digital assets. So 188 million in BTC HODL basically. Total assets is 572 million, which is good. It's lower than 6 months ago of 720 million, but obviously everything has fallen down. And that is basically because of the Bitcoin HODL has decreased in value by almost half. You can see here. So total assets is good. Current liabilities is 24 million, which is fine. It's actually less than it was in December, which is really good. And then total liabilities down to 63 million compared to 154 million back in December of 2021. So that's a nice decrease there. Total shareholder equity is 509, so that decreased a little bit from 565 million in December. And this is all in Canadian dollars, by the way. And then scrolling down here, revenue. So revenue total was 43.845 million Canadian. Cost of revenue was 47 million. So that's obviously, they lost money on it they lost 3.8 million basically on their operations here. And we'll take a look at the note 13 and note 14, what that actually entails. Operating loss income was 16 million. They had obviously general and administrative expenses and of 12 million. Compared to last year of 8.7, so a little bit of an increase there. We'd like to see that stay where it's at or come down a little bit on that. The total comprehensive loss income was 186 million per share. It's basically a negative 49 cents per share loss on that one. So going down here, let's see, where's 13? 8, 11, 12, 13. There it is, revenue. So details of revenue. So digital assets mined, 39.134 million. In Canadian, 4.7 million was high performance computing. And then hosting fees was obviously none. They got out of that. part of it. And the cost of revenue, side operating cost, was 26 million. So that brings us to, what is that? 26 million from 39 million. They're possibly, 66% or so. If I'm doing the math in my head right now, it's around 66, 70% operating expense percentage-wise. And then depreciation, obviously, is the one that obviously took down the total revenue here to 47, the cost of revenue to 47. So if it wasn't for the depreciation, they would be a lot better off. They would be actually profitable. So that's fine. So let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them, and we'll get into also core. So I had them for this quarter at 36 million Canadian, 36.4. They came in at 39,134, so I was off by 6.89 on the downside. So they actually beat my numbers here by, 3 million or so. So not too bad. So then I converted that over to 30 million in USD. So we're using that in here now in our last 3 quarters. Those numbers are being used to get us to possibly being around $7.41 at 50% net income to $1.11 at 75% net income from gross revenue. And they are at $2.96, so obviously way undervalued right now. And it'll be just interesting to see what they do as far as growth going forward. They are at 91% installed from future hash rate. So we obviously want to see some more miners possibly getting installed or bought, taking advantage while this, we're in this kind of market where it's kind of advantageous if you have cash or something like that to buy miners right now because they're so doggone cheap right now. So I'd love to see something like that from them. But otherwise, not a bad quarter. We knew this quarter was going to be pretty bad for all the miners because Bitcoin prices have fallen way down. We knew profit margins were going to be down. So we are where we are. But I think as long as, we're looking at it for the long haul, I think you should do fine investing in these companies because eventually Bitcoin is going to start going back up. We're only about, 18 months, 18, 19, 20 months away from the next halving. And usually Bitcoin starts pumping, a year prior to that. So we're not too far away from the next possible bull run cycle in Bitcoin. But obviously we'll see how things play out in not only the economy, everything else going on around the world. So we'll see if history repeats itself or not. So overall, like I said, not bad for Hut 8. And let's get into Core Scientific. Oh, other thing on Hut 8, I did not get a chance to listen to their conference call. I'll try to see if I can find it tomorrow. They did not post it on their website, so I'll see if I can find it tomorrow and maybe listen to it, see if there's any juicy tidbits. I was able to listen to Core Scientific's press conference call, and I do have a lot of notes here from that, and we'll go over it when we actually take a look at the numbers here for Core. So Core, obviously, we know has been growing like crazy with their hash rate and everything else, but they've also taken on a lot of debt, which is obviously a little bit concerning. So we'll take a look at the numbers here that they have, and we'll digest it all here. So here is their unaudited financial report for June 30th. Total current assets is 511 million, which is fine. It was in December was 756 million. Obviously, Bitcoin price is coming down. That's the main reason for it. Deposits on equipment has come down as well. Digital assets obviously went way down. They sold a bunch here, obviously in July and in June. So that's taking it down, and that's obviously taking our assets down as well. Property and plant equipment obviously grew quite almost doubled here to 1 billion from 597 million. Goodwill was 214 million from 1 billion in December, so that's obviously coming down. Intangible assets was fine. Other non-current assets 14. So total assets of almost $8 billion in assets. So they do obviously have quite a bit. Current shareholder equity is 516 million, and it's obviously up from 320 million back in December of 2021. Going down here, total liabilities is 1.4. Oh, sorry, current liabilities, not equity. Current liabilities is 516. It's up, obviously. Total liabilities is 1.4 billion, so that's also up from the prior quarter, I believe. I'll have to look at the numbers here, but I think that is up higher, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then going down here, so stockholders' equity is 365 million right now. And here's the revenue part of it. So hosting revenue from customers is 31 million. $338,000 compared to $11 million. So obviously a nice increase there. Hosting revenue from related parties was $7.5 million. So a little bit of an increase from 2021. And equipment sales is way down. So $3.5 million from $36 million. And they did say in the conference call that about 90% of their sales to customers has obviously fallen, 90% of those. And that's basically because of customers, miners going directly to the suppliers like Bitmain and some of the other ones buying directly from them instead of going through a third party like Core Scientific. So that is something that they're going to possibly get out of that kind of business there and concentrate more on hosting and obviously the self-mining as well. But we'll get into the notes here in a little bit. Equipment sales related parties was $11.6 million. So that was actually up a little bit from 9. And then digital asset mining was only $109 million compared to $10 million. So almost it is a 10x increase from last year, which is a huge amount of increase. Total revenue was $163 million. But here's the interesting part of it, the cost of revenue. So cost of hosting services was $43 million. And they made possibly around, 38, it's 31, and 7 is 38, 38.8 or so, 38.9. $38.9 million on that, but it cost them $43.64 million. So they lost money on the hosting right now. Cost of equipment sales was $13.5 million, and they made basically almost like a break even on that one. $14 million. They made like $1 million on that one. Cost of digital asset mining was $94,000 compared to $109 for them. So that was like 95% or so of 95%. How do I want to phrase that? 95% cost of goods, basically, I guess. And then total cost of revenue was 151. So they were a little bit profitable here, of basically 12 million or so on that. So that's actually pretty good there. Impairment of goodwill. So this is just a recalculation of their current assets. They basically took a charge of 840,000 based on, I guess, the price of miners coming way down. So that had to be readjusted. So that's for that. So that's okay. Unfortunately, that did add a pretty big hit to their operating loss income. And then the question I had here was sales and marketing. 10 million in sales and marketing. What the heck are you guys selling? There's no need to sell Bitcoin, and unless they're selling their services to try and get people to buy their miners or hosting. But still, 10 million on trying to get customers when you're not even profitable on the hosting part. So that should be nixed. I mean, that should be almost next to nothing, I would think. And then general and administrative obviously went way up to 90 million from 6 million. Obviously, they grew quite a bit, but still that's a huge increase. And it pretty much, I mean, that's almost 15x compared to 10x growth in their own hosting. So this has to be obviously taken care of as well. Total operating expenses was 115 million. Net operating loss income was 1 billion, basically 1.1 billion roughly on it. So that's obviously not good. The only good thing we have from them is that they are growing like crazy, and that's the only thing that's really going for them. So net loss of income was 861,000. Basic, we're looking at a loss of $2.65 per share, which isn't good because they were at 2 cents, and this was I gotta look back here. Let's see here. That was last year, and in 6 months. So that was last year loss of 2 cents. So larger loss here, but obviously we're in a bear market here with Bitcoin, so I think that's okay, and they are growing quite a bit here. So I'm giving them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt here. Obviously, we want to see debt come down and everything else, but overall, as expected, things are going to be down this quarter. All right, so let's get into the numbers that I have here, or some of the comments that I have for them from their conference call. So, like I said, sales decreased 90% because miners are going direct. So that's one of the things that they talked about, obviously. So that's something that they want to get out of that portion of the business and get more, pay more attention to the hosting and their self-mining, which is good. Other thing that we learned was current electrical prices could be anywhere between 5 cents to 5.5 cents per kilowatt hour. And that's because obviously prices have been going up. One of their facilities in, is that Georgia, they said. They're using natural gas, which has obviously gone up, way up in price. and they're trying to rework a deal with that provider there to reduce those costs, which is good. They did reduce 10% headcount, and that was not in their data center operation, but that was in their, I guess, offices, you could say, which is good. What else do we have here? Found out it basically costs them $10,000 to coin one BTC right now, and that's just basically, I believe they're using electricity and operations for the data centers. What else we have here? Running immersion pilot tests. So this is kind of cool. They're actually doing pilot tests on immersion cooling at several of their locations with different vendors of immersion cooling technologies. So they're looking to see which one is the most profitable, to cost and everything else. So we'll get some data on that possibly in the following quarters. And they are saying that they might possibly get a portion. They didn't say exactly what amount, but they would like to get a portion of their self-mining into immersion cooling once they get it all figured out. Hosting. They talked about hosting, obviously. They're looking to increase pricing on that to make it more profitable for them, which is good because right now they're not profitable. They are looking to make future hosting agreements day one profitable, and they are looking to be at 20 to 30 EBITDA profitability on the hosting going forward, trying to get to that point, 20 to 30%, which would be good because right now they aren't profitable, or before they were like at 3-5% profitability on those. So that is a big increase. Also, they said the sales of miners were used in calculating profitability of hosting because they were selling the miners and then putting them in the hosting. So they were using that. So obviously with the sales of miners coming down, they aren't going to be using that anymore. And now they're seeing that really they're not profitable on the hosting anymore. So that's good. They're going to be working on that. So that's a good thing there. They are looking to be, by the end of 2022, producing about 2,000 BTC per month is what they're expecting. That's a lot of BTC. Right, depending where the price is. I mean, at 2,000 BTC, that's almost 40 some odd million, if my math is correct here. Let me see here. 2,000. I can't see my math. 2,000 times. Let's just say it's at 25,000 for BTC. We're looking at that's $50 million a month, basically, in BTC revenue. That's a lot. Okay. What else do we have here? There was a lot. It wasn't long. It was a 1 hour conference call. Let me see here. Questions. So during the questions part of it, they answered that demand for hosting is higher than current capacity, and they're working with reputable miners that have a lot of capital they can put into it as well, instead of just mom and pops that have miners laying in warehouses. So that's good. Sales of miners, we already covered that. Looking to pick up ASICs stranded for low dollar amounts or low cost. So they are looking to see if they can pick up some of the miners that are now out in the market that don't have a home. And, people are looking to get rid of them. So they're obviously way down in price, like $2,600, $2,800 for the S19 XPs, or not XPs, the S9Js Pros. And they have been getting the market price adjustments on the ASICs that they have bought, obviously from Bitmain and others, which has obviously helped them quite a bit in lowering their debt with those and getting the miners in. So that's a plus there. All right, let's take a look at the numbers I have for them, and we'll get into everything else here. So Core, where's Core? Okay, so Core obviously came in at 109 for their their own mining. I had them at 101 million for the quarter, so I was off by about 8.3 million or so. I was on the downside, so there was a difference of 7.51%. Would have liked to have been closer, but I know why this is happening. As Bitcoin price is coming down, it's every month, it makes it a little bit more challenging to price it out because they are possibly gauging it on a daily price for Bitcoin, which is obviously higher towards the beginning of the month than towards the end of the month. So that makes it more challenging to get a more accurate number, but still not too bad, within 7.5%. I'll take that any day. So that's where we are with that. So that's obviously included here in the numbers right now. And based on where we are, they're about 63% operational currently on their self-mining. And we do have them at the last 3 quarters. We're using the latest numbers that we have for them, the most accurate. And the current quarter, we're guessing about 96 million right now. But obviously things can change as they get more miners installed. They're obviously at 45 BTC right now. But that can obviously change depending on where Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin goes up, that could obviously be a lot higher or a lot lower. So right now we're looking at 50% net income at PE20. We're looking at $12.48. And if we're using 75% net income, we're looking at $18.72. I would bet right now, with the way their margins are right now, 50% or less probably, so around $12.48 seems sensible to me. They're at $3.24 right now. Still way undervalued in my opinion. Concerning thing, obviously, with them is their debt. So let's take a look at their numbers here along with HOT8s. So we're kind of tracking this on the miners here, trying to get some numbers and some ratios. So Core Scientific here, we can see is at total current assets is 511 million. Total current liabilities 560 million. That's a current ratio of 0.91. Basically, they don't have enough right now, just barely don't have enough to cover their current liabilities with their current total assets. Total liabilities is $1.4 billion. Total equity is 365 million right now. Debt to equity ratio is 3.917. And then current assets minus total liabilities gets us to a negative 919 million. That's a lot of debt. They need to get that obviously under control. It was on Q1 around 700 million. So that's obviously increased now with the price of Bitcoin falling down and everything else. That has obviously had a huge impact on it as well. And hopefully with Bitcoin possibly going up in the near future, that will change. Looking also at HOT8. HOT8 was at 254 million for total current assets. Total current liabilities is 24 million. That's a current ratio of 10. So basically they have enough current assets to pay their current liabilities 10 times over. So that's a good sign. Total liabilities is 63 million and a half roughly. Total equity is 509 million. That's a debt to equity ratio of 0.125, which is good. And current assets minus total liabilities, they have basically 191 million left over if they had to pay the debt that they currently have for total liabilities. So that's a good sign as well. So that's it. Obviously, a lot of numbers here, guys. It took me a while to get all this stuff together today. I had to listen to the conference call and everything else. So I've probably put in a good 2.5 or 3 hours into this today, going through everything. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So that's it. Tomorrow, like I said, if we get anything from HOT8 as far as on their conference call that's interesting, I'll probably provide it in there as an update. Other than that, it's just crazy. We'll see where Bitcoin ends up going overnight. I think we may possibly start going back up a little bit in price, but we'll see. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And spreadsheet is available to my Patreon members. Thank you to those folks over there for their support. Greatly appreciate it. And I think that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then,